Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storm. Welcome. Thank you so much for pushing play on another episode. And of course, welcome to all of the new subscribers. Everyone, I am so excited. I'm having to be very intentional about calming myself down because I just am in flow today. You know, where you have those moments where you're just totally in it and you just get so productive and you're so lit up and you just lose track of time completely. That's me right at the moment. And I've been having so much fun. Let me tell you, today has been really great. So yesterday I had the day off because, you know, it was the first of the year. And so that's a public holiday. So I didn't really work then. And when I started work today, it was so beautiful because I'm doing this course at the moment all about energy because, you know, I'm always doing courses and I love that. And I'm going to be sharing and integrating what I'm learning with that for all of you. And of course, for my coaching, mentoring and supervision clients, I want to welcome a big influx of coaching, mentoring and supervision clients. I'm so excited to start working with you this year. I know so many of you who've gone and booked your first appointment and we're going to have a really beautiful time together, full of expansion, of course, and growth so that we can, make success for you manifest in your private practice. And speaking of manifesting, I had a few requests for another episode on manifesting in private practice. And so that's what I'm really excited about today. The other thing that I did this morning, so I had my course from 8 till 10, and then I spoke with Shane. So many of you will know Shane from our group, the Australian Counsellors in Private Practice Online. So, when people come into the group, they get a welcome packet and they're invited to have a chat. And Shane and I got talking and it was so interesting. We ended up emailing each other back and forward and messaging each other. And then we just sort of said, oh, do you know what? Let's just record all of this because I was so interested in what he had to say that I just figured that if I was interested, there would have to be other people that would be interested. So I recorded just a general chat with him this morning and sent that out to everybody by email. So do go and check your email for that. It's up on YouTube as well if you want to go and have a look at it there. It was just really fun and it's just so nice to connect with people. And so he was telling me all about his work and what he does with the Neuro change method. So it sounds to me like it's kind of leading edge. And we had a conversation about what this could mean for counsellors to be able to use this new approach and what it could mean for them in terms of being able to build their private practice. So if you haven't had a chance to watch or listen to that yet, maybe do. As I said, it's just a totally unscripted informal conversation we had that we just decided to record. So I did that and then had a coaching client who I just love working with. And, you know, she's into spirituality stuff as well. And it's just such a joy to be able to work with people that are really hungry to integrate this spiritual practice into their business and into their private practice. And so, after that, it's just been so good. I think I shared with you the other day, my word for the year, is intentional and sovereign. And as part of that, I've decided to be more intentional with what I eat. And I feel great. I've slept really well and I just feel really alive and really connected. And yeah, my hammock still hasn't arrived yet. But guess what? Yesterday we had this huge blue tongue lizard. I think it was yesterday. Yeah. Come up to our lounge room window, and oh my gosh, and my dog was just like communicating, like they were almost touching noses. Neither it was scared of the other. It was such a beautiful moment, and I really love seeing that. But then, of course, I went on to Google to find out what type of lizard it was, because I didn't know at the time it was a blue tongue. And I found all this information about how blue tongue lizards love hammocks. And now I'm worried about putting my hammock outside in case the blue tongue comes on it. But anyway, I totally digress. So today I want to talk with you about manifesting for your private practice in 2022. And I want to give you some insights that I have acquired over the last 12 months with all my study and training, because why not? What's the point of me doing all of this education if I'm not going to share the wisdom, right? And so the other thing that I have done today is I've also, just for fun, I've drawn 3 cards for us that I'm going to interpret as we go along in terms of manifesting and what it means for all of us potentially this year. I know, how much fun is this? Do you love it? I love it so much. Okay, and just before I do that, places are going from the content mapping workshop that's happening on Saturday the 22nd of June. It's on at 10 a.m. Melbourne time via Zoom. It's a workshop, and you're going to leave having mapped out a year's worth of content for your private practice, so you never have to stress about it again. And it's going to feel so aligned for you, and it's going to feel so connected for you, and it's going to feel so easy for you, and you are going to walk away with this plan in your hot little hand, and you are going to thank me. You will love it. So there's only 20 places available, because I didn't want to have too many people in the space on Zoom, because I want to make sure everybody gets a fair shot and gets, the support that they're needing. So I checked this morning. I think there's 12 places left at the time of recording this. So if you want to enroll in that, hit pause now on the podcast, tap down to the show notes, and you'll see the link there to go and register. It's only $47 Australian. So I highly recommend that you do that. You'll also get a recording plus a workbook, so yeah, I'm so excited to do it. I wish it was like Saturday tomorrow, but it's not. Okay, so manifesting. Now, I've done heaps of podcast episodes for you on manifesting before. In fact, did you know that this podcast used to be called Manifest Change? It was called the Manifest Change podcast. And on there, I gave away all my tips and tools and techniques, and it was so much fun. And then the podcast sort of transformed into more businessy. And then it's evolved into what it is now, which is Private Practice with Soul. So I went from manifesting to business to now I've integrated business with spirituality. It's my journey. It's out there for the world to see, which is a touch embarrassing. But as I said before, like, I would rather you see what the real life journey looks like rather than publish, all my back episodes under the new label and everything. I'd just rather, be raw and real with you. So manifesting. Now, here's the thing. You are manifesting all of the time. Yep. You're manifesting all of the time. So manifesting isn't woo. It's nothing like that. It's, in fact, kind of like goal setting with a little bit of a twist. The thing about manifesting is it's where we bring something from our mind, from our imagination, from our thoughts into our reality, right? And it can be something simple as, I want to manifest a cup of coffee. Well, you get off your butt and you go and make a cup of coffee, and voila, you've manifested a cup of coffee. So that's all it is. There's no magic involved or anything like that, though I like to think the process is magical. What makes manifestation important is when you understand that you're manifesting all the time, you then have the awareness that, perhaps I've been manifesting things without conscious awareness. So it's this ability to understand that when you become consciously aware, or you become more intentional about what you want to see in your private practice or in your life, that's when you'll start to have more of it show up. So this is what we're focusing on today. The other thing too is just to debunk it really quickly and get it out of the way. I'm not talking about you sit on your couch and you think you want $1 million and then it's something like Super Mario and 1,000,000 gold coins will come out of the cloud above you onto your lap. No, that's not how it works at all. There's a few more steps involved than that. And I think that's where The Secret by Deborah Byrne and co, I think that's Deborah Byrne? Yeah. I think that's where things got a little bit messy for a lot of people. People got very excited at being able to be, living their dreams without lifting a finger. And it messed things up for so many people. So I want to get that clear. You do have to work. There will be a little bit of work involved, but I'll teach you what to do and how to do it. And it's going to feel easy and light. So don't stress about the hard work because it's not hard. The other thing is there are some people that have read all of the books on manifesting, like Gabby Burns, Sarah Prout's work, Elizabeth Gilbert's work, Big Magic, all of that sort of stuff. Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, Jerry Hicks, all of that. And they say to me, you know what? I made a vision board, Brooklyn. I did my mantras. I wrote affirmations. I told myself 1,000,000 times a day this was my reality and it was going to happen. I did scripting and it still hasn't manifested. So this doesn't work. I'm like, but it does, And when we dig a little bit deeper, what we find out is, what I now know to be true is that there's a very big difference between you thinking, it'd be nice to have that versus it's a non-negotiable for me to have that. And let me give you an example. There are people that I've worked with, women in private practice, that were like, it'd be really nice to have some more referrals. So we work on manifesting. I give them the tools and I'm so excited because I know that they're absolutely capable of bringing these new referrals into the reality of their private practice. But they'll go along and they'll say, it's just not working. It's just not working. And here's the thing. For them, they haven't made it a must. And by that, I mean, it's got to be a conscious must. And then it has to, I guess, become a habit so that it moves into your subconscious. And a really beautiful example, I heard of this recently. I can't remember where I heard it from. It's not my example. Was when you pay your mortgage or when you pay your rent. Like, that's a non-negotiable. You just know you will find the money for that. Versus, I want to lose weight. Well, you might be thinking, it'd be nice and I desire it and I wish that it would happen and I'll try and set myself up for it to happen. But it won't. And this is the thing, manifesting won't happen unless you make it a non-negotiable for you. Like, this is what we mean by starting with the end in mind. And even, I'm not a Tony Robbins fan, as you know, but even in Tony's work, he also says, and Stephen Covey also says, you have to start with the end in mind. And what they're saying is you have to quantum leap. You have to take that quantum jump. You have to embody that version of you that's already got it here and now. You must decide that it's done. And that's why we say at the end of, some of our, I want to say prayers, but they're not, but, invocations, prayers, chants, affirmations, whatever it is you're using, we say, so mote it be, which means, and it's done. Or we say, it is done, it is done, it is done. By the power of three, a perfect trinity, it is done, it is done, it is done. And the reason that we're saying that it's done is because we want it locked into our conscious mind that the end has already arrived. The result has already arrived. We're already in the space of having it. And it's from being able to operate from that space. And this is exactly what we do with quantum leaps, quantum jumps, manifesting. We have to embody the end result right now. So, it's from that space that you start to create your private practice or experience success for you in your private practice, right? So I was sharing with the beautiful soul that I had the honor of working with this morning about, one of my big visions. And one of my big visions is, and don't laugh, okay, I'm just sharing it with you. This is just like my secret vision, but it's not going to be secret after this. But what I would really, really, really love to do is be, hired and be flown out to other countries or to be flown out interstate by practice owners or business owners. And you know that show, Salon Makeover, I think it was called, with Tabitha, or I think, Gordon Ramsay, how he goes into the restaurants and fixes them up, or Alex Polizzi, how she's the hotel inspector and she goes and she fixes the hotels that aren't working. I want to do that. I want to experience that. I want to be that person that goes and does makeovers for private practice and helps get them successful in the way that the private practice owner measures success for them, whether that's by fulfillment or profit or referrals or joy, or however he or she's or they are going to define success for them. So this is my big thing. And the other big thing that I have is I really, 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 really want to be somebody's secret weapon in their business. And I want to be like their exclusive private practice support or business support, where they hire me and I only work for them, and I'm on some kind of, arrangement with them where I get to provide them with a reading or intuitive guidance or, sessions or something like that to support them with their private practice or with their business. And I want to be able to do that sort of online or in person, and fly around Australia, fly around the world, fly in, fly out. I love to go to Hollywood or London. Oh my gosh, I would love to go to London and, one day do some business work for one company and then do it 2 days later for another company, where I'm just there reading the cards, tapping into my guidance, giving them guidance about themselves, how they're showing up in their practice, about quantum leaping, quantum jumping, all of this sort of stuff, right? So I was sharing with my client this morning, this was one of my goals. And as I was sharing it, I just had goosebumps. I said to her, oh my gosh, I've got goosebumps thinking about this. And she was excited as well. And then she started sharing what hers was. And it was just, I love it so much. And so anyway, I can absolutely manifest this. In order for me to do it, I simply need to decide that it's done. And I need to decide that I am already doing that. And I have to believe that I'm already doing that. And from that space, I have to start living like that version of me that's already doing that. So how does that version of me that is hired by Fortune 500 companies and blue chip companies and, the wildly wealthy, famous, how does that version of me show up on social media? How does that version of me send an email? How does that version of me do a podcast? How does that version of me connect with people? How does that version of me deliver a service? How does that version of me tap into networks? How does that version of me be seen? How does that version of me want to come across? How does that version of me need to show up? And so I have to start thinking like that version of me that's already got it and making decisions from the space of that person that's already got it. And guess what? Once I start doing that, that's going to become my reality, because it cannot not become my reality. And here's why: because you have that reticular activating system in your brain that is, I've said it before, it's going to go out and fetch for you the information that it believes to be true, because your brain is running on autopilot. It uses 30% of your caloric intake every single day. It wants to conserve energy, so it gets really lazy, and it jumps ahead. It anticipates what you're going to do. And so when I give the command to my brain, hey, this is who I am right now, and, bring me the referrals, bring me the work, bring me the opportunities. Do you know what I mean? Show me, my lifestyle, show me success for me in the way that I choose to define it, which is through intention, sovereignty, and fulfillment. Show me all of that. My subconscious, my reticular activating system, is going to start filtering all of the information that comes in through my senses, those 300,000 bits of information. My brain can only process 2,000 bits of that. So now my reticular activating system is going to go on the hunt for information that supports my belief that I'm already doing it. And it's going to bring it in to that 2,000. Right? And then guess what? That belief becomes my reality, because it becomes my experience, because it becomes true in the world. You see what I'm saying? So you are manifesting all the time. And the key, I think, for those of you who have tried manifesting and haven't experienced success yet for your private practice or your life or whatever it is that you're trying to manifest with, I think it's because you haven't made the decision. You haven't decided it's so. You haven't decided that it's so. And the other thing that can be very, 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 very potent and not helpful, but it will amplify and activate results for your private practice is when you're in your zone and when you're in the vibe and when you're in the manifesting space and you're quantum leaping there and you're embodying that version of you that's already doing it. I want you to in your mind's eye, I want you to be telling this to somebody, right? Now, it could be that you're telling it to your inner guidance, your higher self. It could be in your mind's eye, you're telling it to a parent, a child, your sister, a friend, an archangel. It doesn't matter. But when you're in the space of feeling like you're telling it to somebody, that also makes it real because you have accountability then. So if you've got nobody that you want to feel like you're telling it to, declare it to the universe or declare it to me if you like. You borrow my energy, borrow my beliefs, take them on as your own. But in your mind when you're saying, hey, this is what I do, Brooklyn. I am a highly, highly, highly sought after private practice coach. I go in and I clean up private practices by teaching people who they need to be, how they need to be, that it's more than just the tasks and the doing and the tracking and the numbers. I go and make these beautiful, premium business card readings for beautiful businesses that are, famous businesses, and I'm flying around the world doing it. When you're thinking about that and you're journaling on it, do it to somebody. And as I said, if you don't have anybody that comes to mind to do it to, just write it out. Hey, Brooklyn, guess what? This is me right now. This is what I'm doing. This is my life right now. Do that. So number one, yes, be conscious when you're manifesting. But number two, the power and the potency is going to come when you decide that it's done, you make that quantum leap, you embody that energy, you start taking action, including what you believe, feel, do, say, etc. from that space. And to really activate it even more, declare it to someone or declare it to something. Okay? But I know you're probably wanting some practical steps. So that little rant there was for all of my friends who have already been co-creating with the universe, but who may not have been seeing results. What I'm about to go into now is some steps for those of you who are open to manifesting, are interested in learning more about it, but haven't yet given it a shot. Okay, so first of all, you want to manifest without desire. You have to do it as if it's done. That's step one. And step two is you have to pay attention to what it is you're trying to manifest. So if I'm trying to manifest this experience of being hired by private practices to do their readings and, to come in and observe all the practitioners in the practice and to look at the books and to look at the advertising, to do all of that and then write up a big report and give them recommendations and da-da-da-da-da. If I want that to be my reality, I have to think about that every single day. Why? Because I have to drum it into my brain that this is my reality now. So I have to think about it every single day. And if I really want this to manifest even more quickly, I have to tune into how does that version of me feel that's already doing it? Like, does she feel excited? Does she feel helpful? All of those sorts of things. All of the senses. What do I feel? What do I hear? Do I hear people saying thank you? Do I hear people saying, oh, I hadn't thought of it like that? Do I hear people saying what an interesting take on it? What am I hearing? Like, what feedback am I getting? What are people saying? What am I saying to myself? What am I saying to others? What can I smell? What can I touch? Do you know what I mean? Like, am I touching the leather on, I don't know, the business class in the plane? Like, what's going on? Am I sitting in the business class lounge at the airport? Like, what am I tasting? Am I drinking the champagne? Who knows? I don't know. Is champagne processed? I'm just asking because of my thing about trying to avoid processed food at the moment. Anyway, I digress. So you have to really, really, really connect with what it is you're manifesting, what it is you're bringing into your reality consciously. You have to do that every single day in a way that feels really fun for you. So, you know me, I love journaling, but I don't want to journal every day. And I love meditating, but I kind of meditate already every night at bedtime. So I don't want to do another meditation. So what I'm doing at the moment is I've got a vision board, and the vision board is near my computer, and I look at it before I turn on the computer. So I'm just standing there drinking my coffee, and I just look at my vision board and I imagine that it's already done. And then I make an action step for myself each day from the space of it's already done. This is what I do. And I do that before I do anything else in my practice. And I'm bringing this into my reality now. So that's what you have to do. That's step 2. Okay. You have to be able to, so I'm just trying to read my own notes. Yeah, you have to be able to also tune into your body. And part of this is because I 100% believe that your thoughts, feelings, and experiences are held in your body, right? Not trapped. I don't like that word, but I do believe that your body holds wisdom, your body holds information. So pay attention to what you notice shift or change in your physical body or your energy body when you think about manifesting this. And here's what's so important. If we just go along and we say, I want to manifest a fully booked diary, but we're not paying attention to what's coming through for our body or our energy, we're not going to manifest things, because it could be that maybe when you think about your fully booked diary, yes, in your head, you're happy about it because you're thinking, oh, this is going to bring me in more money. But perhaps your shoulders start to slump a little bit, or perhaps your back starts to arch forward, like slumping forward a little bit when you start thinking about it. And maybe the wisdom of those movements is, this is going to feel like more weight. Well, more weight means pressure. Where's the pressure? I'm feeling like I'm going to be carrying a lot. What am I going to be carrying? Is it going to be extra admin? Is it going to be extra marketing? Is it going to be extra hours? Is it going to be time away from my family? Like, what are the costs of me filling my diary? So if you don't pay attention to that, then you won't manifest your fully booked diary, right? If you think about a fully booked diary and you don't feel anything in your body, or you don't notice any changes, or you don't notice any energy shifts, that's okay. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. It just might mean that either you're okay with things, or it might mean that maybe you just need to learn or practice tuning into your body, And if you do notice something shift and come up, really allow yourself space, however it looks like for you, to be able to sit with it and explore it and honor it. Like, honor where you are, thank it, release it with love and gratitude, and create space. It's the law of vacuum. Create space for that new beautiful thing to come through, and that thing's going to be whatever it is you're ready to manifest. Okay, so going back to that example of fully booked diary, maybe you feel like it's going to be more pressure and time away from family instead of with your family, and it's going to be hard. And what if I've got to, do work with client issues that I don't really like working with, that don't really light me up, but I need to do it to fill my diary. If you were able to process all of that, then everything's going to feel easier and lighter. And guess what? You're going to be more aligned. And guess what? From that alignment, of course, you're going to collapse time. And that just means that you'll manifest things more quickly. You'll manifest your wanted outcome more quickly. Whatever you focus on is what you're going to get. So if you're in your private practice now, for example, and you're saying, oh, where are all my clients? I don't have any clients. I'm meant to be opening the doors and there aren't any clients, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm disorganized, and I know I need this, but blah 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 blah, then guess what? You're giving all your attention to that, so that's what you're going to cop more of. And who wants that, really? Like, you don't need that, you don't deserve that, but you're choosing it. Here's the thing. Shift yourself from to me consciousness into by me consciousness, and say, right, what am I going to do differently? How am I responsible for these results that I'm seeing? What am I not doing or maybe what am I doing that I ought not be? but what am I doing? What am I not doing that's caused this in the first place? How have I contributed to feeling disorganized? How have I contributed to not following through on my structures? Or how have I contributed to not marketing effectively? What was my role in that? What was my part in that? And in By Me Consciousness, you're going to say, great, now I see and I can own up to that. Perfect. What am I going to do about it? Because guess what? Nothing's going to change until you accept responsibility for your part in it. Because that then allows the doors to open to creativity, to inspiration, to your downloads, to all of those sorts of things. Okay. So I want to release the blocks. And then, of course, doing that quantum leap, like starting with the end in mind, embodying the energy of already having it now. And then the last thing that I really want to share with you is you have to support yourself in embodying the energy that's going to be magnetic for whatever it is you want to come in. So think about the energy of a fully booked diary. How are you going to feel? Well, are you going to feel gratitude, for example? Great. So you have to become the energy of gratitude. Matchy. If you think that you're going to feel abundant, great. Tap into the feeling of abundance now. It might not have anything to do with your diary, but maybe you can look outside and see there's an abundance of grass that needs to be cut. Or maybe you can go into your pantry and see there's an abundance of Maltesers that are waiting to be eaten. Or maybe you can, do you know what I mean? You get the idea. You have to get into the energetic alignment, the energetic match of whatever it is you're trying to call in. So for me, wanting to be hired to fly out and do makeovers of people's private practices, or for me to be able to be hired to do, business consulting from an intuitive perspective with the cards and the readings and things like that. I've just lost my train of thought. I have to become attuned to the energy that's going to bring for me. So for me, that energy is, I would feel really proud. I would feel honored. I would feel humbled. I would feel like I wanted to give it my all and then more. I would feel like, just totally honored and humbled. So in order for me to become a match for that, to call it in more quickly, I have to now tune into the energy of honored and humbled. And the way that I do that is by thinking about times in my life where I previously felt honored and humbled. So it might be when I got my PhD and I had the presentation ceremony. That was so humbling. It was so humbling. It might be about times where, I just randomly get these beautiful messages from people online, like from our groups or in relation to the podcast, or beautiful emails from random, they just pop into my inbox out of the blue. And they're so beautiful. And they're all about how something that they heard in one of the episodes helped. And that is so, 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 so humbling. So I can tune into that energy. And the easiest way for me to do that is to go back and look at those emails or go back and look at those messages. So I keep them somewhere where I can look at them and I can experience that sense of, oh my gosh, it works. Oh my gosh, this helped somebody. Oh my gosh, I just feel so humbled to be a witness to their journey or part of their journey. It's such a special, beautiful, beautiful feeling. So I want to connect in with that energy every single day when I'm getting ready to think about embodying and stepping into the version of me that's already doing what that more successful than me version is doing, or what that next level version of me is doing. And here's the other thing I want you to know about wanting things. Like, you have to want something to manifest it, right? You've got to desire it to manifest it. But the desire or the want is the invitation for you to up level. It's the universe saying, hey, I've put this desire into your space because it's earmarked for you. It's tagged for you. It's waiting in the wings for you. It's waiting for you to show up. This is your invitation to take that next step. So the very, very fact that you want something or that you desire something is a sign that it's yours. It's not mine. It's not his. It's not hers. It is yours and yours alone. So you have to honor that desire. Accept the invitation. You get to choose. Am I going to accept this invitation and up level? Or am I going to decline the invitation and restrict myself and play small and hide in the shadows? Up to you. It's always your choice. But if that desire is in you, it means that on some level you're ready to take that next step, get out of your comfort zone. And this is the other thing as well. People will say to me, oh, I need to know how I'm going to do it. So using my example again of traveling everywhere to do the business stuff, if I was that person that was like so caught up in the how, I'd be thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this in 90 days? What are the 120 steps I need to take to manifest this? How is this all going to work for me? I have to do A, then B, then C, then D. I'd be like totally in my masculine. But that's not manifesting. Manifesting happens when you decide it's happened. When I decide that I am that person who does those things, the how will take care of itself. Just like how when you decide to rent a place, when you decide to take out a mortgage on a place, you find that money. You don't sit there and think, oh, how am I going to get the money and da-da-da-da-da. You make that decision. You know that by hook or by crook, you will find that money. And you probably have also experienced that as your expenses increase, your income increases because you have made a commitment to meet those expenses. So for some of you, raising your income is going to be easy when you invest in your practice or in your life, because you will have to find the money to cover it. It's a non-negotiable. Do you see what I'm saying? So do not worry about the how. The how reveals itself to you after you've made that decision. The how reveals itself to you after you have decided this is who you are. This is what your practice is. This is the woman, the man, the they that you are being right now. Then the how is going to reveal itself. Okay? And guess what? It might not be in the way that you think. Like you might think, for example, as I was just saying before, we had an influx of people apply for supervision and coaching and mentoring, right? Not everybody got accepted because, what's the point? If people aren't at that stage yet where they're going to get the most out of it, I'm not going to enroll them, of course not. But some people made that decision. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it. And they bit the bullet and they did it. And they didn't stop and think, how am I going to pay for this or blah, blah, blah. They just trusted that the money will come. And guess what? It's come. I've had 2 people pay $10,000 in full for coaching this week. Okay. The money comes. If it's not about money, if it's about time, the time comes. If it's not about money or time and it's about relationships, those networks, those experiences and opportunities, they come. They will reveal themselves in ways that you are not expecting. Get this. Sorry, I don't mean to say get this, but it's just one of the things I say. But anyway, last year I set the intention to pay off my mortgage. Now, in my head, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to have to see more clients and I'm going to have to bump my fees and I'm going to have to do this and I'm going to have to do this and it's COVID and what if that, etc., etc., etc. But I ended up saying, do you know what? I'm just going to make the decision to be mortgage free by the end of the year. And I trust that the way to this will be revealed for me. And I made that decision on the 2nd of January in 2021. And then on the 23rd of July, guess what? Mortgage free. How did it happen? I sold my house on a whim. Now, at the start of the year, I was imagining I was going to double my repayments, refinance, sell more products online. I don't know. I was thinking about all these practical things I could do to generate the money to pay off my mortgage. But what ended up happening was we had a housing boom in Hastings, a total housing boom. I paid $338 for my house a few years ago. I sold it for $710,000. I still can't believe it. The houses aren't those prices anymore. I was just lucky. And, I can remember just making the call to the real estate agent. I was just making an inquiry because I could see people around me were selling their houses. And so I just made that inquiry. And next thing you know, boom, I'd signed the paper. And 24 hours later, I'd sold my house for nearly double what I paid for it just a few years ago. So this is what I mean. Don't worry about the how. The universe will take care of the how for you. Okay. There's nothing for you to worry about with that. Yeah, that's just one example. And I've got so many examples, but I won't bore you with them. Anyway, you get my point. Once you make that decision, the how will reveal itself. So that is my episode on manifesting. But do you want to hear my 3-card read? I'm going to share it with you anyway. So my 3-card read, my guidance that I was requesting was about what I needed to share with you and what you needed to hear about your manifesting journey for your private practice or your life right now. So this is just a very simple, I've got this beautiful board here, right? I got it off Etsy. It looks like a half moon, and it's painted black, and it holds 3 cards like standing up. So it's got these little slits in it where I can put my cards, and it's just so beautiful. I love it so much. It's by a company called Yiska, Y for yellow, I-S-K-A. If you want to go and have a look, I think it was about $30, but yeah, so much fun. Anyway, you can put 3 cards in it for either past, present, and future, or situation, obstacle, and advice. So I'm choosing to do it for situation, obstacle, and advice, just for fun. So the first card that came up was the 9 of Swords. And as you know, Swords is all about stress. It's all about emotion. It's all about worries in day-to-day life. And for us, we're talking about day-to-day private practice, right? So the 9 of Swords is depicted on my beautiful cards, which I love, love, love. They're from, I think I told you about them last time. They're from Saint Soliel. I found them on Instagram. So beautiful. But anyway, on this card, there's like a lady, and she's sort of sitting down on the ground, her legs out in front of her. One hand is folded across her tummy or her chest, and she has her head in her other hand, right? She's just like tired, fed up, can't believe it, exhausted. And this card was the right way up, so not reversed or anything. And it can often symbolize things like depression, anxiety, sleepless nights, overthinking things. Hello, can any of us relate to that when it comes to private practice in the past? Negativity, feeling despair, even feeling isolated at times. And this card really does also represent like sadness and regret. So this card here in this position is describing our past or something in our past situation for private practice. So think about what's been happening for you in your private practice, and if there were moments of despair, if you did have sleepless nights in the practice, if you were overthinking, if there was something that you wanted to do, but it was fear that kept you back from that kept you sort of in the shadows where it's safe playing small. So that was the past. And the present, like where you're at now is, it's the Ace of Pentacles. All right. So Pentacles is generally all about, material needs, finances, the body, things like that. And this is a really beautiful card. It's represented often by coins or buttons. And this is 2 hands holding out this beautiful, beautiful coin. It's got gold foil on it over some apricot roses. It says Ace of Pentacles. And look, this really usually can represent, because it's the highest card, it's usually very, very positive. And here it represents something like a new material offer coming to you. It can also mean a change for the better in your career or your work direction. Sometimes it can mean things like a promotion, but for me, the way I interpret this card is moving more into alignment with your core values and your core shadow values, some kind of opportunity, and of course a new manifestation. And for us in private practice, this new manifestation could be anything from a new lease on an office for those who are doing face-to-face, or it could mean a new transition into the online space. This card also represents that there are resources available to you that you can now access and tap into that you haven't been able to before. for whatever reason, maybe you didn't know that they were available to you. Maybe you just weren't ready, right? Maybe you were aware that people were sharing their stuff, but you just weren't ready. Maybe you were studying or something. But this card also represents a current place of stability despite what's happening in the world around us. It can represent a sense of stability in your private practice. And I take that stability to mean like a knowing. And then lastly, of course, because it's about Pentacles and money and finances, it can also mean a new level of prosperity, which is beautiful for the business side of your private practice, don't you think? I absolutely do. And so with this, this card also represents a new sense of confidence, a willingness to trust, a willingness to surrender, to take action, and a new sense of comfort when it comes to making decisions. So that's kind of where you're likely to be at the moment. That's the energy of private practice for us at the moment, okay? And what's going to come as a result of this, like for the future or for the advice, if you like, that's coming out of this is, the Four of Wands. So Wands is all about work, which fits for us because it's private practice. And the Four of Wands usually represents things like communication, kindness, and sharing. But for us, it is reversed. And so what this means is there's a sense of leaving home, and home can mean leaving a place that's felt homely, a place that's felt safe for you, and moving into a new place. So that could be a physical place with a practice, or it could be an energetic space that you're moving into. It can also mean that there's a sense of lack of roots, and this is going to come about as a little bit of the wounded feminine. So some of you might find that, as the future unfolds over the next, few weeks, next few months, that you might feel a little bit sort of rudderless, and you might find yourself feeling a little bit like bright shiny object syndrome, like you want to do this and do that and do this and do that, but you're not actually focused. Okay, and this can lead to discussions with people who might be involved. If you're not the sole decision maker for your private practice, like for example, if you have a loved one that's involved in finance in the private practice, or who you involve in the finances for the private practice, there could be conflict or arguments because they may feel a sense of, well, what are you doing? Like, you were going to go and do this EMDR course, and now you're doing a polyvagal course, and now you're thinking about the Neuro change method, and what the H is going on here? And as a result of that, you can feel a lack of support and this sense of instability and feeling unwelcome. But here's what this card also means. This card is a sign that you are up leveling. All right. This card is a sign of that because we see your foundations are being shaken. That's always a little bit scary for us, right? So at the moment, everything feels stable. We've got stability. We're experiencing a level of prosperity, whether that's spiritual abundance, whether that's physical, whether you've got some new money coming in, whether it's, abundance of love, of joy, referrals, whatever. But we've got stability and prosperity right now, but you're moving into a place in the next few weeks or the next few months where you're not going to have that, where you're going to be feeling very unstable, where you're going to have people around you doubt what you're doing, and you're going to feel unsupported. Now, all of those things are neutral things, right? They're just energy. They're not good things. They're not bad things. They're just neutral things. They're only going to become good or bad, for example, if you attribute a good or a bad meaning to them. So, for example, if you're feeling a bit vulnerable and you're listening to what everybody else is saying, they're laughing at you because you want to do this, or they're saying, do you really have to go and spend more money on that? Or they're doubting you and all of those sorts of things, well, you've got a choice. You can absolutely listen to them. Okay, and you can stay where you are and go back to safety and go back to stability, but you're not going to grow. And you're not going to see any change in your practice, most likely, because you're taking that step back to where things are safe. The other choice is you choose to say, oh, wait, everything's going to at the moment. So when that happens, I remember Brooklyn saying that this is a sign that I'm on the right path. Because here's the thing, the universe has to help you release and let go of the things that you're not going to be needing on the next level, right? It supports you in releasing and letting go of people, objects, places, things that are not going to serve you as you go up to that next level, right? So for some of us, maybe we lose some friendships, but guess what? We're going to connect with people who are a better match for us and who we are a better match for, right? Whether that's in a mastermind or maybe it's a Facebook group, or to give you an example. So do you see what I mean? Like, the universe has to shake things up in order to sort things out and rearrange them for you. So I would urge you to, when you have this, experience, which I'm not saying that you will, I'm not predicting anybody's future. This is just for fun. But if you have this experience and you're starting to doubt and everything, stop, pause, ask yourself on a spiritual level, what does this mean? And even think about times in the past where you thought it was all, it was all done and dusted and you were over and you were through. And I bet you came out the other side with a new lease on life, brighter, better for it. I can remember like my first divorce. I know, right? I'm Zsa Zsa Gabor over here. But anyway, like my first divorce, we've been together for 17 years or something. And yeah. Anyway, I was just, anyway, I'll have this story I'll save for another time. But here's the thing. I ticked all the boxes, right? I was a good girl. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I wasn't promiscuous. I went and got an education. I went and got a career. I got the big house. I did all of the things, right? I did all of the things except have children. But I did all of the things. And then I got to a point where I was like, is this it? And I don't know, maybe it was like a super early midlife crisis or something, but I was just like, surely this can't be it. Like, I need more. And he didn't need more. And so anyway, it was devastating for both of us to, close the circle on that relationship. And it took us both a lot of work to sort of get through it. But what happened was I blossomed. After that marriage, which was in no way a bad marriage, and he's a good man and he's a good person and everything, we just, outgrew each other. But after that marriage, that's when my whole life opened up for me. That's when I started connecting in with spirituality. That's when I visited like 24 different countries, learning about shamanism and spiritual energy and beliefs and stories and Bedouins and gypsies and all of this. I could not get enough. Like, I lived overseas for years and years and years, just traveling, learning, just soaking it all up. And that's when my confidence grew. And that's when I really found out who I was through all of these adventures that I had, in Arabia, like all of these beautiful, heady adventures that I had. And so this is what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you think things are devastating and horrible, and why is it happening? And it's like dark night of the soul. And even when all that stuff was happening that I told you about before in psychology, which is why I left psychology with the 2-tier system and the medical model and all of that inequity, that was so far removed from my values. Even from my shadow values, it was far removed. I couldn't do it. It was so far out of alignment with me. It was making me feel physically sick to work in the Medicare system because I just disagreed with it on so many levels. And when I realized that things were only getting worse with Medicare and things were only getting worse from my perspective and from where I was sitting for me and my experiences in psychology, and it's not the same for absolutely everyone, but for me and for a lot of us, it was like that. I remember having my own dark night of the soul thinking, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to look after Gabe, my fur baby over here? How am I going to feed myself if I don't have psychology? Like, if I don't have that career, if I don't have that title, like, what am I going to work in, Big W? Am I going to work in the reject shop? Am I going to work in Bunnings? Like, am I going to be unemployed? What? And I remember like for days agonizing over this. And then I made the decision. I decided that I was going to leave, and I decided that I was going to run a profitable business without psychology. And guess what? I did it. And guess what? You can too. The thing is, when these experiences happen, you can either roll over and, say, well, this is my life and isn't it horrible? And you can allow yourself to be locked into that to me consciousness, or you can step back and pause and you can say, hey, hang on, this is happening for me. I don't see the end result just yet, but this is happening for me. And I know if I nurture myself and look after myself right now, that, everything's going to be revealed to me in divine timing for my highest good and the good of all others, or something better. But you have to believe it and you have to take action on it. Okay? I'm sure you're sick of me now rambling on, right? So, quick recap. Of course you can manifest what you want. I've given you the steps to do that. Go back and listen, grab out your journal, take notes, have a think about this card spread for you in private practice and your future, and let me know what you think. Does it resonate with you or not? Or maybe you're listening to this, I'm speaking to the future now. Maybe you're listening to this and it is, the 4th of January, 2023, and you've come back to listen. You're like, oh my gosh, she was right. This was a fantastic reading, this happened, and it was for the good. So anyway, you know what to do. The other things, just to recap quickly, is go and check your email for the video that I've sent you about the Neuro change method. I've also popped a link to it in the show notes. If you just want to tap that, it's easier. It's on YouTube, so you can watch it on any device. And the other thing is, if you want some help mapping out your content, because oh my gosh, until I created this way, I had no idea what I was meant to be posting. And I used to loathe posting. And I always just wanted to do it from a place of flow. And so I'll spend my days sometimes going, hello, flow, come on, waiting for flow here. But guess what? There are some days that go by where you have no flow. And so then you can put pressure on yourself, like, oh, I didn't do it and whatever. And anyway, people are like, oh, you need to plan your content. And I never knew what a plan looked like. And I would download other people's plans. I couldn't make sense of them. So anyway, I figured it out for myself. I've applied it to private practice. I think I've nailed it. And now I want to share it with you. So if you struggle knowing what to post and how to post it and all of that sort of stuff, and you're not getting referrals and you're not getting inquiries from your social media posting, come along to the content mapping workshop on the 22nd of January. It will be recorded. There will be a workbook, and you will leave with knowing what you're going to be posting about for the next 52 weeks. I know, I love it so much. I love it so much. And I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. I know this one was a bit longer than usual. I appreciate you so much. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you again on Saturday. I had to think about that. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.